Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Welcome aboard the WSFS Armadillo, pride of the White Star Federated Space Lines. I'd like to have your attention for the following important safety announcements. As we are still in space dock and will not depart until Monday afternoon, space pirate attacks or other disturbances are unlikely, and we do not anticipate any problems this evening. But if an emergency should occur, there are emergency exits on the exterior walls of the hall clearly posted. If it is necessary to evacuate the auditorium, the presentations on stage will stop, the house lights will come on, and an evacuation announcement will be made. Please follow the instructions of the stewards who will direct you to the nearest emergency exit. Smoking is not permitted inside the Armadillo. Smoking is permitted outside the airlocks only. Flash photography and the sounds of mobile phones are often mistaken for blaster fire. Therefore, for the safety and comfort of all passengers, we ask you to silence all mobile phones and to remember that flash photography is strictly prohibited. There will be a photo session with the award winners immediately after the ceremony in the 4th room, which is located adjacent to the auditorium on the ground floor. We ask that people wishing to take photos of the winners go to the 4th room. In the event of sudden loss of artificial gravity, restraints will automatically deploy from your seats. Please float quietly until you receive further instructions. And one announcement before we begin. Mary Ann Gruber. Operations suggests that you come and see them if you would like to have your credit card back. Thank you for your attention. Now, please welcome the hosts of the 2005 Hugo Awards ceremony, Paul McCauley and Kim Newman.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Bonsoir, mesdames et messieurs.
And welcome to the 63rd Annual Hugo Awards for Superior Achievement in the fields of science fiction and fantasy.
Et bienvenue à la 63e Prix Hugo pour achèvement plus grand dans les champs de fiction scientifique et fantastique.
As you know, the Hugo Awards are named for the father of modern science fiction, that tireless self-promoter, prolific journalist, pioneering inventor of television and the steam-driven automatic pencil, and editor of the world's first real FS magazine, Victor Hugo.
Born in 1802, Victor Marie Hugo is little remembered for his comparatively rare excursions into fiction, though connoisseurs rate highly his 1862 dystopian vision, Les Miserables, in which everyone lives unhappily under the jackboot of the tyrannical Frère Énorme.
And of course, for younger readers, there's the enchanting tale of a gypsy girl, her pet goat, and a flying alien from another dimension, the jetpack of Notre Dame.
But Hugo's real achievement was his founding in 1879 of the quarterly periodical Histoire étonnamment, whose first number modestly bore the legend, Le journal meilleur de fiction scientifique dans le monde entier, and featured the crude, vigorous adventure writings of Jules Verne, Alexandre Dumas, and Eugène Sue, plus poetry on an FS theme by Arthur Rimbaud, and a cover painting of a brass rocket ship, an angry octopus from Saturn, and a swooning mademoiselle with a fishbowl on her head by teenage prodigy Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec.
As an editor, Victor Hugo shaped FS as a literary movement, often making suggestions that made massive improvements to now classic works. For instance, he persuaded Marcel Proust to alter the title of À la recherche du temps perdu to Mind Quest of the Tempernauts. And to issue his mammoth work in 10 separate volumes, inventing the decology form which dominates the field today.
And his was the guiding hand behind Jules Verne's famous 3 laws of automata. Let me see if I can get this right. A homunculus, automaton, or other artificial construct shall not serve a human red wine with fish. Must always alert a human to shortfallings in the quality of his cuisine with a mechanical cry of sacre bleu. And shall not, through inaction, allow a human to be seen in public with mismatching gaiters and cravat.
Less happily, Hugo entered into an ill-advised association with the Scots hack Arthur C. Doyle. Doyle, tired of cranking out scientific detective yarns that regularly scored as least favourite story in Autonomont's readers' polls, and decided to make money by founding his own religion, the Kirk of Spiritology. Based on communing via an electrical device with fairies and spirits of the ether. 10 years later, Doyle went to the guillotine after more than 20 of his followers suffered fatal electrocutions.
At the age of 113, Victor Hugo was a living demonstration of the efficacy of the monkey gland transplants he promoted through the back page adverts of Autonomont. In the middle of writing an editorial boasting that he would live to see in the new millennium, Hugo succumbed to fatal apoplexy when the Secret Service smashed down the doors of the offices of the magazine. The Secret Service had mounted the raid because Hugo had just published the story by the obscure English writer Herbert Wells, which uncannily predicted the workings of the then secret Grande Bombe Atomique. You'll remember that's the weapon which allowed France to prevail in the Great War of August 1914 to later that afternoon in August 1914.
Ironically, it was Victor Hugo who ensured that the entire FS world would always be centered on France, the only remaining superpower, whose atomic empire stretches from Grand Quebec and the Duchy of Louisiana through the Emirates to Afrique Nord, to the chain of her Ariane orbital satellites whose friendly rayons d'amour enforce the Pax Français upon a grateful globe.
Of course, there is another FS, or should we say, sci-fi tradition, practiced in the Republic de Mexico y California, the Confederate Union, and the 13 United States of America. But what our Chicano, Dixieland, and Yankee cousins still tragically fail to understand is that a genre characterized by dry, experimental, inaccessible literary elitists like Philip Roth, Newt Gingrich, and Gore Vidal can never hope to match the vitality, commercial success, and pulp vigor that is Monsieur Hugo's legacy to the field.
And so, before the solemn business of handing out awards to the worthy disciples, followers and fanatics of fiction scientifique, we ask you to all raise your glasses.
Of the correct wine if you don't want to be exterminated by the etiquette automata.
In this toast,
Vive l'Empereur Hugo! So, Paul, do you think the shade of Victor Hugo has been placated by this year's awards?
Mais oui. Let's hope he's just as happy next year when the ceremony will be held in a sleepy little town by the Pacific, inhabited only by Jesuits, banditos, and a few Red Indians.
So here's to 2006, when we'll meet again in El Pueblo de Nuestra Señora de la Reina de Los Angeles.
Hey. Before we take our leave, we're sure you'd like to join us in thanking Mike and Debbie Moir and their army of technicians and runners for all their hard work in making this ceremony run as smoothly as it possibly could.
And briefly,
shake them and throw them over the people. Do you think I'm a Formula One driver?
special shout out to Microsoft Paris, who supplied the security automata.
And while the winners of the awards go backstage to have their photographs taken for the next 3 or 4 days, we hope that everyone else will enjoy the rest of the evening by celebrating fiction scientifique in general and the legacy of Monsieur Hugo in particular. Thank you and good night.
Merci et bonsoir.
Good night.
Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. I hope you enjoyed tonight's ceremony. I'd like to inform everyone that buses will be running between here and the Hilton Hotel downtown beginning at 10 p.m. Buses will board in front of the SECC. I'd also like to remind those people who have won awards tonight that you need to go to the 4th room. That's the 4th room located off the lobby of this auditorium. Photography will take place in the 4th room in a few minutes. Those people wishing to take photos should also go to the 4th room. Please make way for the people with the trophies, otherwise you'll be waiting a long time. Thank you all very much and have a pleasant evening.